You know, what Ramon just said actually makes me think about one of the things that's been really frustrating for me over the last 19 months. And that's been to watch as the leadership of the Republican Party, people like Leader Boehner and others, make a very cynical bet that if they can make the Democrats lose, then somehow they win. And they didn't care that the collateral damage along the way was the American people. And that is not real leadership. We can continue to move forward and get things done for the American people in tough times. And if you look at the choice that we have moving forward, it was made very clear a few weeks ago when on Meet the Press somebody asked Pete Sessions. Now Pete Sessions is in charge of the Republicans' National Committee where they try to get members of Congress elected. So he's been raising money for my opponent. He's in charge of the Republican effort. And he was on the morning talk shows, and they said on Meet the Press, you know, you're all about no to what Obama wanted to do on health care, and you're about no on energy, and you're about no on student loans and everything else. What are you for? What would your agenda be if you were back in charge? And in a rare moment of complete clarity and honesty, he said, we need to go back to the exact same agenda. He used those words, exact same agenda, as when the Republicans were in charge of the House of Representatives and President Bush was in the White House. And one of the other Republicans who was on the show, I think, almost lost his lunch because he realized exactly what Pete was saying. But it really gives you some insight in they don't have new ideas. They really don't. And if you don't believe it, you only need to look at the budget debate last year. And when we were debating President Obama's first budget, one of the Republicans come up with their alternative budget, and they get a chance to offer that as an amendment. It included the privatization of Social Security. It included the voucherization of Medicare. This is last year. Long after President Bush lost that debate with the American people, they want to go back to the exact same ideas. And they're willing to put it in writing. It's not just, let's keep this secret until after the election. They put it in their budget to privatize Social Security. They've said repeatedly, Leader Boehner, who if he got his way would be Speaker Boehner, has said we need to repeal the health care bill, and we need to repeal the Wall Street Reform Bill. Now think about that. They're going to repeal the Wall Street Reform Bill and then hand your Social Security over to those Wall Street banks.
Yep.
Now there's a recipe for a complete and utter permanent disaster to the American economy. We don't have to let any of that happen. Because of all of you, we can continue the progress of the last few years. We can draw a line in the sand in New Mexico. Because for the words Speaker and Boehner to go together, they would have to win Harry Teague's seat. They would have to win my seat. To pick up enough votes for them to control the House of Representatives, they know they have to come through New Mexico. That's why so much national money is flowing into my opponent's coffers. They know they need this seat. So all of you are what we need to draw a line in the sand and say we're not going back. We're going to continue to go forward. We're going to work with this president to rebuild our economy and have a brighter energy future and continue the progress that we've seen on health care, on the environment, and on so many other issues. We're going to get that done, but it's counting on all of you. I need to know that I can count on you to get there because it will be, just as Senator Tim Keller said, this year, whether we win or lose, will depend on whether we show up at the polls. And if Democrats show up at the polls, and if those new young voters who came out in 2008 for the first time, if they show up to the polls, it doesn't just mean that I win. It means that we've created an entire new generation of leaders who will inherit and lead this country 10 and 20 and 30 years from now, who will take a long-term view and think about the implications for my children and for the next generation. So I know what's at stake in this election. I don't want to go back. I don't want my children to inherit that kind of a future. And I know I can count on all of you to help us get there. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. The next 3 months, less than 3 months today, and 62 days, I believe, to early voting. 2 months from today, we're going to be early voting. We're in the thick of it now, folks. We need the volunteers day in and day out. Some days the IBEW won't be here with their barbecue. But we still need you coming down here to get this done. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight and making this possible and keeping this train going down the track, because without you we can't do it. Let's have a big round of applause, please, for everybody who made tonight happen, all of our fantastic staff and volunteers, and I look forward to seeing you all here many, many more times over the next 3 months. Thank you, Victor.